yeah, like I said before, I did a short podcast thing with a couple friends, and it ended up being my favorite movie of the year was Dune. Dune was my favorite movie of the year by far. I love me some Dune. And I think I'm going to do a Denis Villeneuve tier list from the wonderful filmography of French-Canadian man Denis Villeneuve. But yes, we're going to do a Denis Villeneuve tier list. I have seen everything except for... I haven't seen Polytechnique. I have not seen Polytechnique. I haven't seen... What's this? I think it's called Maelstrom. I haven't seen that. And I have not seen the 32 août sur Terre. 32nd of August on Earth. But I've seen everything else. Okay, I don't know if I'm just going to go out and buy, you know. I mean, how much was it? How much was that action figure? I'm sure it's cool, though. But yes, I have seen everything up to Prisoners here. And I gotta say, Denis Villeneuve is a master at what he does. I think this is too many tiers. There's like barely even that many films. Maybe they're just doing like one film per tier. But I'm going to put this down a notch. I'm gonna say, how do I get rid of it? Delete row. All right, we're gonna delete. Okay, you know what? I don't think I'm putting anything below decent. I gotta say. So I think I'm gonna do it like this. We're just gonna have 4 rows here. $13? Not too bad. Not too bad. I'll consider it. That's pretty cool though. I don't own too many action figures, but a Dune one would be pretty cool. Okay, so Denis Villeneuve tier list. What is everybody's favorite Denis Villeneuve movie? Because I have a hard time deciding, honestly. I love every single one of these movies. I don't know if I'm putting a single one in decent because I'm gonna find an argument to put every single one at the top. Okay, so Dune. Of course, the one I've seen the most recently. Saw it in theaters. Came out 2021. I want to put it as masterpiece so bad. But I think the thing that might hold me back from putting in masterpiece is that it is incomplete. It is Dune Part 1. But, oh man, it's so well made. It's a story that I didn't know anything about Dune before I watched the movie. And I really wanted to go in blind. And I'm so happy that I did. I'm going to leave it at must-see, but we'll see if anything balances out, you know? Prisoners is my favorite, but I still haven't seen Arrival. Yeah, Prisoners is so good. I love Hugh Jackman. He's one of my favorite actors, and I think that is a sin for not seeing Arrival, Owen, because Arrival may just be at the very tippy top for me. I love Arrival so much, and I was so happy that it was nominated for Best Picture the year that it was, because yeah, it worked so well. I did write an essay on it in school. I wrote an essay on Arrival and the original short story that it was based off of. And I'm really happy I did because I think a lot of the times writing essays in university, I just developed a deeper appreciation for the film that I was writing about, and just, yeah. So, again, yeah, Dune, I can't say enough good about it. It's just like the best sci-fi movie of the 21st century so far, in my opinion, honestly. I'm trying to think of what else could be, but it's one of the best sci-fi movies of the 2000s, and I can't say enough good about it. Okay, Enemy. I haven't seen this movie in a very long time. I remember really liking it. I like the very unsettling nature of it. I do love those kind of suspenseful movies. It was very, I don't know what the word is. It was very, unsettling. It was filmed in Mississauga, I believe. It was filmed in Canada, I believe, near the GTA, which is awesome to see. Jake Gyllenhaal, again, I guess he was in Prisoners as well, yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal was fantastic, playing 2 Jake Gyllenhaals, and it's I don't think it was a terribly long movie, which I really appreciate. I like the shorter movies, very concise. It had a very clear thesis as well. The fact that there wasn't actually 2 of him, spoilers. And the ending, the shock value with the ending works very well. Love the ending. But in the middle, I don't remember too much. And I think that I would have to rewatch it. I feel like it's one of those movies when you think about it more, maybe if you like write a piece of paper on it, or write a paper, or write a piece on Enemy, you could kind of get into more of the nitty gritty. But as my memory serves, I remember it being pretty good, but I wouldn't put it above Dune. I think I'm going to put it in good. Yeah, I agree. Enemy is good, just good. Just good. I did really like it. I loved it. in fact. I feel like I love most of these movies. Okay, Sicario. Sicario is probably tonally one of the most different because it's framing itself as a war movie, framing itself as a what's the conflict? It's they're at the border, right? Something about drugs or something and corrupt people, you know. But oh yeah, there was a sequel to Sicario and I hated it. It was really bad. I think Benicio was in it. Day of the Soldano. It was just like it just didn't work. It wasn't as cohesive as this. It was just trying to be a cash grab saying, "Oh, people who like Sicario, come watch this. It's another like, cop movie about drugs, crime cop movie." But yeah, would not recommend. Just stick to the original. I don't know if Villeneuve was involved in that one whatsoever. But yeah, Sicario is Emily Blunt's character is so good in Sicario, and I think Benicio del Toro, when he has an iconic character, he kills it. I loved him in French Dispatch. That was another iconic Benicio del Toro. Yeah, I love Sicario. I think that it is very tense. I always remember that one scene where they're right at the border, and then everyone starts getting out of their cars and starting the gunfire. That's a great one, and you just watch Emily Blunt the whole time, be like, "What is going on?" And yeah, the ending is really good as well. Another great ending from Villeneuve. I believe it was her deciding whether she should expose Benicio for all of his wrongdoings or if she should just, go on in this corrupt industry. I guess relating to Pig a little with the industries. But yeah, I really like Sicario. I think I'm going to put it in, I think you must see Sicario. Must see, which is kind of making me feel like I should move Dune up a bit. But okay, we're getting to some really juicy ones. Arrival. I think Arrival is a masterpiece. Yeah, I said it. I think Arrival is a masterpiece. I think that what it has to say about connection, what it has to say about language and those borders that we put up is so great. And reading the short story, the plot in the short story had nothing about what's the word I'm looking for? Inter-country conflict. There was no part in the short story where they're talking about all of the countries going offline, not cooperating together. But I think that was the piece of this movie that kind of like tied it all together. It was about the metaphor between people and the aliens and not being able to communicate, trying to find a way to communicate, eventually turning hostile as we all thought it would. And then you have the people trying to work together when they're trying to figure out what's happening to these aliens, sharing information, everything like that. And then, of course, that turns almost hostile as well. Yeah, one of the other countries is trying to blow up those spaceships. But it's, yeah, one of the most realistic alien invasion movies that there is. Yeah, if there ever was aliens, which there probably is, somewhere in the universe, we have no clue what they would look like. We have no clue how they would act. And I love just the ambiguity of these aliens. And it works so well. The part that is very clear in the short story that you kind of build up to the climax in this movie about the her flashbacks actually being flash forwards. It's done so well. It's just done so well. I hope that wasn't spoiling too much of it because I think if you watch it, you still will be very shocked by everything. Sorry, Owen, I know you haven't seen it, but highly, highly recommend watching it. If you watch it, I would love to talk about it again after that, but I'm putting it in masterpiece. Anybody else have any thoughts about that? But yes, next we got Blade Runner 2049. And the Blade Runner series is very interesting because I say this to everybody I talk to about Blade Runner, that the first time you watch Blade Runner, you're probably not going to like it. I didn't like Blade Runner the first time I watched it. But then the second time I went back to it, it works so well. And I don't know why. That it's happened to multiple people. I've heard them tell me that, yeah, I watched Blade Runner the first time, didn't really like it, but then you really build an appreciation for it because I think a lot of the themes that you realize at the end, you really bring them back when you're watching it another time. And yeah, it works so well. I forget the last time I watched it. I feel like I watched it 2 years ago, the original Blade Runner, and I watched Blade Runner more recently with one of my brothers. And yeah, so new Blade Runner 2049, I think is great as well. I do love Ryan Gosling. And I'm trying to think. The tone of this movie works so well because it has that original Blade Runner, like, noir kind of grittiness to it, but also it amps up like the flashiness. Like this poster is the poster is so flashy, it's so full of color, and the contrast between the the neon lights compared to like the griminess of some of the underground stuff works very well. And this, yeah, I mean, kind of the central themes there. But movies that are about like humanity, I mean, as Arrival is, as I feel like many of Denis Villeneuve's movies, but movies that tackle like what it means to be human, that's my cup of tea. I love sci-fi movies, and yeah, this movie really does it for me. I'm gonna put it in must see as well, right below Dune. I think that some of the I just remember certain scenes being a little bogged down, being a little underwhelming. I think it takes a while for it to get going. It is very long. It is a very long movie. I remember it being like 2.5 hours. And I remember when it came out, it was not well, didn't make too much money, which is unfortunate because I thought it was quite amazing. I like the climax of the movie in the rain, the scene in the rain with all the waves. That is so good. It just looks so good. And the tension of having the water like just rising up. Water is so scary. That scene makes water so scary, and it works so well. But yeah, I think I need to rewatch it because I feel like I'm trying to justify my ranking for it, and I'm not having enough info to back it up. But I agree. Must see, I think, is a very apt place for it. Okay, Incendie. I don't know how many of you have seen Incendie. I've seen it once, and it's one of those movies where it takes a while to get going. It's more of a mystery. It works very well in the end. I do remember the twist in the end, which I won't spoil because I feel like some people may have not seen it, but I would highly recommend seeing it. But then again, it's one of those movies where I feel like a good mark of how solid a movie is in your opinion is how much of it you remember. And I really only remember a couple scenes. There was one on a bus. There was one at the very end when that reveal actually happens. But other than that, I can't remember it as much, and I think that that does say a bit about it. I don't want to be too unjust because it was a really good movie. I do remember that. But I think out of everything, again, just like some of the other filmmakers we talked about, it was their starting point, and it may have been a little less refined than all these other ones. Denis Villeneuve, it'd take a while for him to refine his craft, which he clearly did. And I'm going to put it at decent because it really is. It's pretty decent. And I love watching movies from filmmakers that are established and, how they started out because, yeah, that's super interesting and it's a great movie. I do recommend seeing any of these movies here. All right, lastly, we have Prisoners. And Prisoners is... We talked a lot about the endings of these movies, but Prisoner has perhaps the most gut-wrenching, makes you think... iconic endings out of all of these movies. I mean, you have Enemy with that ending. You have, like I said, Bladerunner with that one climactic scene. You have Sicario, her making that decision at the end. But Prisoners, where you just faintly hear the whistle in the distance. If you haven't seen it, you must see this movie. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a whistle. Okay, I'll say that. But yeah, the ending it works so well. It's such a honest, down-to-earth portrayal of everything. Everyone, it's more of a classic drama mystery, trying to put everything together, but the brutalness of the movie works so well. It's just, very good. And I will say I will put this in must-see, because in my opinion, I don't know if any of these touch Arrival. And I may have a bias towards sci-fi films, as we can see here. I'm trying to see, should I balance this out? I feel like I could balance this out to make a little less under must-see, but do I move Sicario down? I could. Do I move Dune up? I could. All right, in sake of balance, we're doing this, and we're doing this. That looks a lot more satisfying, doesn't it? Okay, this is my list. And again, this is another filmmaker whose entire filmography is incredible, and I love every movie that I've seen that he's made. But I think, yeah, he's mastered the more down-to-earth sci-fi. Down-to-earth in sense that Arrival, yeah, literally, it's on Earth, and it's about human connection rather than the aliens, which makes sense. And Dune, down-to-earth, I want to say it's more gritty. It's like there's so many details in that world that it makes it feel less glossy and less fantasticalized than other sci-fi. But yeah, this is my list. What do you guys think? Any thoughts on this list? I do love Villeneuve. But yeah, there's my tier list for this week.